Hello, folks, and welcome back to twitch.tv/gameswithnick. Today is a Wednesday, and such, we're gonna be playing some Broken Sword. Um, we're getting to the. Oops. Why is it here? Well, I guess it did not say after we actually landed in Spain for some. Okay. So, long story short, Artemis Judge George Stubbart. We're trying to stop a conspiracy revolving around a modern version of the Templar Order that seems to be controlling the masses. Because we're witness of a murder due to this assassin, literally part of the assassin group. No, from Assassin's Creed, those assassins named Khan. We're currently trying to track a lens that is supposed to be here in Spain.
Hi, is this the Vasconcelos house?
Who wants to know?
I could tell the old coot was going to be trouble. My name's George Stobart. I was wondering whether...
The house is not open to the public.
This is the Vasconcelos house.
And what business is that of yours, senor?
Look, all I want is to speak to the head of the household.
There is no household. Only the Countess and myself.
So there is a head of household.
Tell me about the Countess de Vasconcelos.
She doesn't receive guests. That's all you need to know.
You don't even know what I have to talk to her about.
She hasn't won the lottery, has she?
No, she hasn't won the lottery.
A more cunning man might have claimed that she had.
Oh yeah? They might have, might they?
And that more cunning man would have been kicked off the premises. The Countess doesn't do the lottery.
Yeah, that's why I didn't lie.
What do you know about the Templars?
Who wants to know?
Are you angling for a...
I mean, I have been known to disguise myself as other professions, but...
Except the pleasure of your absence.
The guy was obviously protecting the Countess against the whole world. But why?
Well, I guess we do have the
lens
lens.
like this before?
Right, we got the lens in Syria. Let me quickly change the stream title. How to use the lens. Okay, that's better.
Do you recognize this man?
No.
Cool.
Maybe not. Would you like to shake hands?
I do not think so, senor.
Look at this tissue.
It's a tissue with some greasy muck on it.
Yes, that's right.
We've been carrying that tissue and grease paint for about a week at this point.
This lab pass mean anything to you?
Nothing.
What do you make of this?
So that's it. You're a salesman.
If I was hawking medical supplies, I can think of better places to hawk them. Do you know what this is?
See, I have a similar tool for opening culverts on the estate.
Have you got any use for a fistful of plaster?
No.
Alright.
I'll be going for now.
Adios, senor.
So I should also mention this is starting to be far enough into the game that I don't really remember what is supposed to happen.
I wasn't about to go clambering on rooftops if I didn't have to. There was a statue of a guy on top of the building. He looked like a knight with a spear and some sort of staff. I wasn't about to go
So I need to, look up a hint or two if we're stuck at some point. But the game has mostly been pretty good about, as long as you talk to everyone and try everything,
It's locked.
it's hard to get completely stuck.
The door was a handsome piece of work, in keeping with the ornateness of the rest of the building.
Okay.
From a distance, I thought it might be a summer house. Close up, I wasn't so sure.
No, this is called a mausoleum. Dead people in there.
I'm no student of architecture, but the little building looked old. I wondered if it was some sort of summer house.
We've talked to him. Actually, let me talk to him about, see if he has anything to say about the summer house.
Hello
In
again.
quotes.
You again.
Yep, and it's a real bonus to see your smiling face, too.
Nope.
I'll be going.
Adios, senor.
Alright.
The hose ran from some sort of utility room all the way to the lawn.
I feel like I have a very mean idea. I appreciate this game because you do have a pretty limited inventory at all times.
My hose has stopped.
Yeah?
See, my hose never stops.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. It's always sad when a tradition comes to an end.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Well,
Me?
I'm shocked.
What?
Mortified. How could you think such a thing?
Very easily, senor. Very easily. I'm going to find out why my hose has stopped. And that means going into the house. You are not, absolutely not, to go in the house. If you do go in the house, I will set the dogs on you.
I'm gonna go in the house. And hide beneath the armor, I guess? I feel like this is something that could
I
not...
know you are there, American. All right, you dogs, I'm coming.
I feel like you can't really hide behind a suit of armor that way.
Madre Dios, who are you?
My name's George Stobart. I'm sorry to burst in like this.
You must leave at once. You're not wanted here.
Please, if you'd just listen a minute.
Very well. State your business, Senor Stobart.
There's been a series of murders, part of some conspiracy. Anyway, the trail led me here.
Here? There is nothing for the outside world here.
Over 600 years ago there was.
What do you mean?
This whole thing ties in somehow with the Knights Templar.
The Knights Templar are dust.
They had a secret that was so important, they went to a lot of trouble to hide it.
I do not see what this has to do with my family.
Your family had a strong connection with the Templars, right? I believe that they have planted some clues here.
Why should I believe a complete stranger who barges into my home?
Just let me have a look around. If I find nothing...
You'll be spending the night at the police station. Very well. Please, sit down.
Alright, skip a little step.
I know your family is involved with the Templars, but I don't know how.
You should be asking how my family were involved, Senor Stobart. The Templars ceased to exist centuries ago. After de Vasconcelos, the line dies with me.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Okay, whatever happened almost 700 years ago. So, if the Templars left any clues, they're going to be in stuff that dates back to the early 14th century.
Obviously.
So, what do you have around here that's early medieval?
Early medieval. Let me think. Well, The house is relatively modern, a scant 3 centuries old. Or, of course...
I hope you've renovated it since then.
That chess set is over 600 years old? It must be worth a fortune.
Indeed it is. Not that I would part with it, of course.
No, I wouldn't either. That's the sort of thing that gets handed down to your children.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Its value is less than you might think. The set is not complete. One of the pieces is a modern replacement. As to the original, it was lost a long time ago.
Okay,
Nobody has any idea
tell me more about it.
The children had it when they were taken.
Children? What children?
All in good time, Senor Stobart.
Okay,
May I examine the chess set?
Certainly. But do not move any of the pieces.
Okay, thanks. Close up, the modern piece stood out like a sore thumb. There was something else odd about the set. All of the original pieces had irregular bases.
My lady, I have to warn you, there's a...
sorry.
Why, I'll feed you to the dogs.
Lopez, what have I told you about feeding intruders?
But, my lady...
Never without my permission.
You're a small intruder.
Senor Stobart, if I find that you're wasting my time, you will be fed to the dogs. Now, I want to show you something interesting. Follow me. Lopez, unlock the door, por favor. This is the only remaining structure on the estate contemporary with the Templars.
Nice. What is it, a summer house?
A mausoleum, Senor Stobart.
Oh.
Come with me.
Hey, senor.
Yeah?
I do not know what you have told my lady to be shown these favors, but I do not trust you.
You've got nothing to worry about. Aren't you coming in?
No, the dead do not interest me. My garden is a living thing. I will be there.
Wow, this is old.
It was constructed in the 13th century as the final resting place for the De Vasconcelos Templars.
It's well maintained.
These are my ancestors, and they deserve respect. I come here at least once a week to say a prayer for them.
Mind if I have a look around?
By all means.
The
That's
mausoleum
right.
contained 5 tombs for 5 of the Knights Templar, man-size in marble. A big statuette of the Virgin Mary kept an eye on the place. In front of the shrine was a lectern with a Bible on it. On removing the Bible, I found a pattern on the lectern top. Hey! It's a checkerboard! Close up, I could see that the pattern was made up of glass squares over a checkerboard pattern. It was too delicate to move. Now what? There was nothing to snuff. Feeling like an idiot, I put it down again. High up in the dome were windows. I guessed they might open them to make it less stuffy in there. I couldn't climb up there without breaking something. Hanging from the ceiling was a huge yellowed candle. It looked really old and had never been lit.
Alright. So let's talk to Lady.
May I ask you something?
You may ask.
Who exactly are these people?
My ancestors. These 5 men were all members of the Templars.
5 ancestors in the order. You must be very proud.
Not 5, 6.
Where's the 6th knight?
He was lost to us.
You lost an ancestor?
It is a family matter. It can have no relevance.
Well, it's connected with the curse of the De Vasconcelos, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I hope you will honor my desire not to talk about it.
Okay, well, I'll leave it for now. Is the Virgin Mary really the right person to be sharing a mausoleum with 5 knights?
You are showing your ignorance, Senor Stobart. The Templars were dedicated to the Virgin Mary.
You certainly know your history.
What's your opinion of the Templars, Senor Stobart?
The Templars? Well, they seem no worse than a lot of the knightly orders.
You are mistaken. Compared to the simpering politicians of the Hospitallers or the brutish Teutonics, the Knights Templar were the embodiment of chivalry. The filthy, money-grabbing French king and his pet pope did a great wrong. A bane settled upon my family at the whim of that self-seeking tyrant.
It was all a long time ago.
Some things don't die. Injustice is one of them.
What's the story with the glass chessboard?
Glass chessboard. Oh, the pattern on the lectern. Purely decorative, I'm sure.
There are pieces of glass missing from it.
Oh, it has been like that since I was a girl.
They're the bottom of
Gaps in
the
the glass chessboard look
chess
awfully
pieces.
deliberate.
No, it is ridiculous. What possible significance can it have?
It's part of a chessboard, and the gaps are for...
Senor Stobart, you cannot mean...
How did you not...
Templars. Your chess set is as old as the Templars. It's kind of suggestive, isn't it?
Like, I mean, you know,
think this must
I
be
come here, I look at it for 5 minutes, and I'm like,
manuscript is pointing
it's the
to.
chess pieces.
This is extraordinary. Am I to understand that the Templars left a puzzle here? And in all of this time we failed to realize that there was a puzzle?
It was
Apparently.
wonderful to watch the Countess change before my eyes.
Right. Well, no time for wallowing in self-pity, eh, Senor Stobart? This mystery has had a good long run, but it ain't here.
Wow, she's really into it now.
All those years of fatalism were falling away from her.
Lopez! Lopez! Put that hose down and listen! Go to the house and get my chess set. Yes, the old chess set! Now hurry! My, this is exciting, is it not?
Don't get too excited. This could be a blind alley.
Oh, I do not believe that for a moment.
It's good to see you happy.
Happy? You know, I think I am.
While we're waiting, I'd really like to know what happened here. I mean, the curse and everything?
It all began at the time of the dissolution of the Templars. Don Carlos had already left their ranks to become a scholar.
Don Carlos. Is he the guy who went missing?
See, but he had reckoned without the local bishop. The bishop envied us our lands and determined to use the papal edict as an excuse to destroy us. Don Carlos was on one of his scholarly journeys when the Inquisition arrived. When Don Carlos returned, it was to find his loyal manservant slain and his children gone.
They took
Jesus.
the kids? But why?
Oh, we will never know. The bishop denied all knowledge of the children's disappearance. But witnesses had seen his men kill the servant who had been charged to protect them.
What happened to Don Carlos?
He swore he'd find his children if he had to go to the edge of the world. He put on his armor and took up his sword and shield and rode out alone. He was never seen again. Lopez, you have the pieces.
See, my lady, as you asked.
Por favor, Senor Stobart, would you be so kind?
My lady.
Calm yourself, Lopez. I believe Senor Stobart's motives are pure.
Very well, my lady. My lady seems to trust you.
But you don't.
No, senor.
It fits, Senor Stobart. It fits.
Working quickly, I found which pieces went into which holes.
Each chess piece must be placed in a corresponding hole. Gonna place more cheese, pattern on space, click on a hole to wish for a pattern. Okay. Red, blue. This is stupid. This is clearly a Wii puzzle. I just let me. Blue, red, dark. White, blue, green, red. This is not even a puzzle. It's just busy work. Like, it's just matching things. As long as these patterns live in your memory for half a second, you're bound to find the right one. Green, white, blue, red. Wait.
With the red pieces in place, the square bases fit onto the white pieces. I just had to figure out where to place them.
Okay, I guess now this is an actual chess puzzle. So let's see. Uh, I like what? But I can't go back, so I have to apparently solve this with no indication whatsoever. Um. So this guy's there is not under. I don't even know which way things are supposed to move. I guess forward this way, but that guy's not under check. Um. This also looks fine. Like, what am I looking at? Like, they clearly have to fit in this middle column, but where? Why? How does this work? Okay, I gotta check. Oh god, I hate this thing.
Bingo.
There we go.
I mean, checkmate.
Gotta be honest, don't love chess puzzles.
Senor Stobart, look!
What is that? It's not the Holy Grail, is it?
No, Senor Stobart. It is the communion chalice of the De Vasconcelos, missing for almost 700 years.
Wow. Well, go on.
I cannot. I can hardly believe it is real.
Go ahead. Live a little.
Are you sure? This is your moment of triumph, Senor Stobart.
Sure, I'm sure. The possibility of death traps only occurred to me a few days later.
Back in Nico's apartment. Oh,
The curse
no.
of the De Vasconcelos is lifted?
Oh no, the Countess was thrilled to find the lost chalice. But there's still the riddle of the missing knight.
Well, you can forget about that now and get back to finding the Templar's secret.
Actually, I promised the Countess I'd find Don Carlos.
You what?
I can explain everything.
You have got the odds for a withered old Spanish aristocrat?
The Countess entrusted me with the chalice and the quest for her ancestor's tomb.
You're as crazy as she is. Haven't you got enough problems? Khan and the Templars?
It's all part of the same thing. The chalice is important, I'm sure. The manuscript pointed us to the knight, and I have to find him.
What then?
I don't know. But when the knight and the chalice are reunited, maybe I will. Is there something going on between you and Labano?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this. The clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but...
So get off my case.
I mean, she's not wrong.
This is the chalice I discovered in Spain.
I still can't figure out why the Countess gave it to you. After losing it for all those years, she simply gave it away to a total stranger? She's one prawn short of a paella.
The Countess is a fine lady. You shouldn't compare her with seafood.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on between you and that Countess.
Are you serious? She's old enough to be my grandmother.
Wow. Very, very jealous out of honestly nowhere, but... So if I go to the airport, yeah, there's nowhere else I can go at the moment. I believe it's probably going to be somewhere in Maupassant. Yo, what's up?
Oui, I have returned.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see you back here again.
No? Well, it is a strange thing, but I am here on duty.
On duty? But you're just sitting there drinking wine.
No, I am not just drinking wine. I am undercover.
I must be missing something. You're in uniform.
Precisely, monsieur. My cover is that of an indolent, wine-guzzling police officer.
You've got me convinced.
Merci. But in reality, my every muscle is poised, every nerve honed. I am drawn tight, ready to pounce. Dang!
Who or what were you planning to pizzang on?
You must have heard, monsieur, of the terror that is gripping Paris.
You mean the killings? Oh, at last, someone's taken action.
People die every day. No, I am on the trail of Sewer Jacques.
Who?
Sewer Jacques, the terror of the Mediterranean.
It's like Pear's version of Jack the Ripper.
He pops up there. The cops, they seek him everywhere. Is he so hush or beneath the neck? That damned elusive Sewer Jacques.
Bravo, that's very good.
Merci. I was up half the night writing that.
Who is this Sewer Jacques character anyway?
Ah, if we but knew that, we could have him in custody in an hour. But he is cunning. To despoil the sewers of our fair city, he has committed many deceptions. He has pretended to be a police officer and deluded a poor war veteran.
Uh-oh.
He has pretended to be a jongleur.
Wow, is that the time?
And an American tourist.
Wow.
What nationality are you, monsieur?
Canadian. Well, gotta go now. See ya. Well,
The
not everyone who can say they started an urban myth.
voice actor did do a bit of a Canadian accent, as far as I could tell. Went a little story. Let me talk to this priest again. He probably knows something about old knights.
Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
You must be proud to have such an incredible collection of stained glass.
Pride is a sin, monsieur, but it is hard not to marvel when it is a fine example.
Yeah, we already talked about this.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know, it is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
Sure, knock yourself out.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. A stone... A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world, I guess. The priest was still busy with the... I didn't have time. A row of old... I thought of all those Paris firm buttocks of the young ladies. Flat... That wasn't a... Whoa! A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. It looked a lot like the statue on top of the de Vasconcelos mausoleum. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported. The priest was... A stone knight lay at the end of a row of 4. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. In comparison to his neighbor, it looked pretty plain.
To be honest, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here.
I was a Sunday school dropout. The priest was still busy. I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine engraved chasing on the scroll was actually writing. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Sounds pretty familiar to me.
Yeah, that's the thing.
On the end of the staff. On the end. Per discipline. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow. Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been...
Tell you what.
The lens fitted into the end of the scroll like a hand into a glove. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Hey!
Oh, good lord. 3 lens elements need to be slid to the correct position so that they create a clear image. Okay. Oh boy.
Distortions came sharply in the road.
Whoa.
Burning at the stake. And below
13, 14.
a knight Templar buried a stake and a date. Let me see. MCCCXIV. That's 1314.
You done?
Hey, thanks.
It is my pleasure, monsieur.
What was the writing on the chalice?
It was not writing, my mistake. It was a coat of arms. The remarkable thing is that it seems very familiar.
Yeah?
Oui, I think I have seen it on that wool tomb in the far corner. That winged horse is quite distinctive.
Sweet.
Do you speak Latin?
You ask this of a priest?
Good
Can
question.
you tell me what Persiclinum meam lux videbis means?
Let me see. That would be, by my teachings, you will see the light. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's what
By
I
my
thought, too.
teachings, which means through the scroll.
Is the right-hand window original?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay, cool.
Catch you later.
Let's go over here. See what we can do with this chalice.
Now that my attention had been drawn to it, there was no mistake. There was no name on it. But the coat of arms was undeniably the Pegasus of the De Vasconcelos family. I'd found the last resting place of Don Carlos. My eye was drawn to the biblical references carved into the edge of the tomb. Hey, maybe these biblical references mean something.
Jumbled letters curved on the right side. Looking at its number of biblical references. Name of a book followed by chapter and verse in Latin. Luke 8:2. All right.
Psalms 22:21. Not much to go on, but it must have meant something. If I examined the tomb more closely, there might be other clues to find. Psalms 32:7. The numbers referred to a chapter and a verse in the Bible.
Oh, this is fucking terrible.
Corinthians 14:5.
Yeah.
John 4:11. There were no more references to find, but a series of Roman numerals ran around the plaque. I made a note in case they meant something. Psalms 32:7, John 4:11, Corinthians 1:4-5, and just one more. Psalms 22:21. I may not be perfect, but I've got a memory like a steel trap. The chalice had led me to these inscriptions, but it looked like a happy coincidence to me. After all, the De Vasconcelos arms were already on the manuscript. Nope, I was still convinced that the chalice had some significance all of its own.
Can I ask you about all those biblical verses? Because you seem probably the most qualified person for it.
Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Did you know that the center window conceals an image of a man burning at the stake?
The burning man?
What, you knew?
That there was a hidden image? No. But the church has a reputation for being haunted. Many times, people have claimed to have seen a burning man in the window. But when others they look, there is nothing. Perhaps the light has to be just so for the figure to appear.
Yeah, or maybe you need a special lens. Catch you later.
Oh,
I guess I know where to find an actual Bible, so I guess I'll just fly back to frickin' Spain. No? Oh. museum? What's up, Lobby?
Hi, Andre.
Mais oui, oui, Georgie.
While I was in Syria, I discovered a strange pagan statue. It was like a head with 3 bearded faces. Horrible.
That sounds as if it could be Baphomet, the idol described by the Templars.
The poor Knights of Christ had an idol that looked like that?
Allegedly. The description of the idol came from the evidence extracted by the Inquisition. Mind you, not one statue or idol was ever found on Templar property. Until now, that is. Just last month, a statue of Baphomet was unearthed right here in Paris.
Where?
At the Institut Hermétique de Naval. The statue is beneath the foundations. It was discovered by some workmen while renovating the building.
Can you tell me any more about the statue of Baphomet?
It's a fearful image, even now. A bearded head. The base of the statue is carved with Templar symbols. One of the workmen noticed a curious stain at the base. He claimed it looked like blood.
Blood?
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
You're
This is a spot that I can go visit now? What are the odds? Ooh. I can.
Excuse me, could you help me?
What is it?
I've got a few questions. You're doing a fine job.
Merci. I have my professional pride.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gauloise smoke so stylishly.
It's a natural talent.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm being indifferent.
You're very good at that as well.
Merci. Vive l'indifférence.
So French.
So, what are you doing here?
I am having my break.
Yeah, I mean when you finish your break.
When I finish my break, an interesting concept, monsieur.
You'll probably need to think about it.
I could have another cigarette while I consider. Perhaps tomorrow too.
Okay, let me put things differently. What were you hired to do here?
I was hired to keep the archaeological dig in the basement of this building clear of debris, and to touch up damage to the door frames with my little pot of paint. It's a very responsible job. Unfortunately, I'm not a very responsible person.
So what do you know about the excavation?
I know they won't let me in to do my job. I would complain to my union, but
You couldn't be bothered to join.
Right. Tell you what, though, I'm surprised at the sort of people interested in this excavation.
What
is
sort
so
of people?
unusual about the visitors to the excavation?
None of them look like archaeologists to me.
Do you know what an archaeologist looks like?
Three-piece suits, crocodile-eyed attaché cases, Rolex oyster.
But no archaeologist dresses like that.
Quite right, monsieur, quite right.
So, who are they?
Who cares as long as they pay me?
What does the word Templar suggest to you?
Templar?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Have you seen this man before?
Yes, he asked me a lot of questions, just like you. A greasy tissue. Don't get it too close to my cigarette, monsieur, or there'll be a conflagration.
Ooh. Now we're talking.
He's seeing you.
What?
The painter had a pot of gunmetal gray primer hanging from the barrier.
Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Pah.
There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer.
That door's locked, monsieur.
There was a telephone on the far wall. Do you mind if I use the phone?
Be my guest. I'm paid to guard this door. The phone can look after itself.
Hi, Nico?
Georges, what have you discovered?
Nothing yet.
Nothing. Is something wrong?
No.
George, why are you calling me?
Oh, no reason. I just wanted to hear your voice.
You did. Well, this is my voice saying, don't bother me, I'm busy.
Oh. Hi? Excuse me?
Oui?
I'd like to use the washroom, but the door's locked.
Oh, that's no problem. You can have the key.
Thanks. Hi again.
What is...
So, what exactly are you doing here?
I'm guarding. You expect to find me shearing sheep?
Take it easy. I just didn't realize you were a guard. I'd like to know what you're guarding, please.
That's a secret.
It wouldn't happen to be an archaeological site, would it?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Then why ask?
I had a feeling this was no normal hole in the ground. What do you know about the Knights Templar? There was a long pause during which the guard said nothing. Then he said,
Nothing.
nothing at all?
Is this a test?
What, like a history pop test?
No, like a test.
Okay, yes, it's a test.
Then I know absolutely nothing about the Templars.
The guard was being amazingly evasive. Talk to you later.
Au revoir.
Well, let's start by seeing what's up with this bathroom, I guess.
The thing felt really hot. Big demands seemed to be being made on it. Oh boy! Dirty soap! How do they do that?
Ooh.
Perhaps I could... The key had made a clear imprint. The bar of soap
Alright, then we throw in the plaster.
knew keeping it. With the plaster and the imprint, I had filled the key.
Alright, let's put it under the water.
Cast without wetting the plaster. But
And-
plaster alone does not make a cast. I used the dryer to speed up the process. Well, it had taken a while, but I had made myself a completely unconvincing plaster key. Way too fragile to use in a lock. I'd have to substitute it for the real one. Trouble was, it looked like plaster and not metal. Then again, that plaster statue in Syria hadn't looked like stone until I'd been a bit artful with it. Maybe I could improve the key as well.
Yeah, with paint.
I didn't want... Being in a charming comfort station like this made me think fondly of the toilet in Syria. That place was kept in pretty good order. At least, it had been until I vandalized it. Still, it was all for a good cause.
Hey, don't go with my keys.
A guard stood by... He looked pretty... Hi again.
What is...
Here's the key.
Merci, monsieur.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir.
Alright.
Hey, monsieur!
Okay.
I should think so.
Hi, it's me.
What?
Be
Oh, I
safe.
know.
What is...
I know. That's why we have a phone here.
Couleur.
Hello, Nico. It's me.
Hi, George.
I'm at the excavation, but they won't let me in.
Damn. We need to know what's in there.
Don't
That's
worry.
why I need you to
I'm
pull a
gonna see.
distraction.
I'm going to need your help, though.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
I want you to keep somebody on the phone for a while.
Who?
A painter. I need to get at his pot.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the line. I'll go and get him. Hi again.
What is
I need to use...
again?
I have... Hi again.
Nope.
What is
Here's the key. Talk to you later.
oh,
I knew she'd lose her patience. Hi, it's me again.
What now?
You've got a phone call.
For me? Are you certain?
It's a woman. She sounded hot.
What woman? She must be mistaken, monsieur.
Well, she asked for that hunk of a man with the nicotine fingers and his ass hanging out of his pants.
Certainly. Stand back. It wouldn't do to keep the lady from her hunk.
Right.
Well, monsieur, what a strange woman. She was all over me and then suddenly, nothing but abuse.
Really?
What? Abuse? Ah well, I have a cigarette to finish. And monsieur, if she calls again, I am not available.
Hey, I need to pee again. I really just have a
Hi
problem.
again.
what is
I need...
again?
I have... Now, I'd substituted the fake key for the excavation key. Hi again.
What is it?
I couldn't give him the keys. The false key looked pretty convincing, but it felt exactly like what it was. Painted plaster. He was bound to detect it. Talk to you later.
Oh,
Okay, this means I should be able to finish it. What am I supposed to do with my fake key?
It was the key to the excavation. On the keyring was a big old key that looked like it might fit the excavation door. I figured I'd best...
Hmm.
Hi again.
what is it?
I couldn't give him the keys. The false key looked pretty convincing, but it felt exactly like what it was. Painted plaster. He was bound to detect it.
What do I...
Talk to you...
Oh,
What? Oh, what's over here? I didn't even realize there was something.
The doorway led to an old... There was nothing in... The doorway was full of assorted old tea chests.
Oh.
The radiator was pumping out heat as the thermostat was cranked right over to full. No wonder it was warm in here, even with the door open to the chill of fall. I couldn't imagine.
Let me talk to him.
Hi again.
what is it?
It sure is hot in here.
I have to have the door open to allow the workmen access, so why not? I turn the heat up.
You could wrap up warm.
I have my gloves if it gets cold, but why bother when it's warm anyway?
Okay, we need him to
Talk
wear
to
his
you later.
mitts.
I turned the heating off. As I'd hoped, the...
Alright.
Hi again.
What is it?
I held my breath and hoped that he wouldn't notice the substitution. Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir.
Hi, Nico. It's me again.
I'd guessed.
What did you say to the...
I shan't repeat it, George.
Look, I need to get the guard out of the way. Could you call back and ask him to get the painter again?
Okay, I'll call back soon.
This looked like a good place to watch things develop.
Hey, you! It's the phone.
Yeah, who is it?
How should I know? What am I, your social secretary?
It's not a chick, is it?
Yes, it's a woman. Are you going to answer it?
Does she have a warm, sensual voice like molten chocolate?
Yes, she has a really sexy voice. Now get a move on.
I'm not talking to her.
I can see that. You're wasting time talking to me.
No, you don't understand. I refuse to talk to her.
You refuse. You refuse. I'm wasting valuable time.
Don't make me laugh. Your time valuable? You just stand around all day.
I have a highly responsible job. Pah, don't pah me, you elephantine oaf. My job is important.
Impossible. They would have hired somebody competent in that case.
Meaning what?
Instead of which they hired a dismal rent-a-cop like you. All epaulettes and no brains.
Why, you...
This looked set to carry on for some time. It was too good an opportunity to miss.
Alright. And... excavation key.
I couldn't see anything useful to do with the planks. There was no doubt about it. It was the same sort of idol I'd seen in Syria, Baphomet. The Templars had certainly been through here. And there it was, decoded by the curves of the chalice, the image of a church.
Cool. Back in Nico's apartment.
I found out what the chalice was for.
You've solved the puzzle?
Yeah, there was a distorted picture at the Baphomet site. When I viewed it in the polished surface of the chalice, it changed.
What did it show?
A picture of a church with a square tower. Just how long have you known Labano?
Andre? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresher. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
I guess I'd better return the chalice to the Countess.
Hurry back, Georges.
Alright. Few hours later. Still feels like I'm taking either flights or trains like nobody's business. What's up, Luis?
Hi there, Lopez.
Lopez.
Senor Stobart, how pleasant to see you. You are well.
Fine, thanks. Is the Countess in?
She is waiting for you. I will show you up.
It's okay, I know the way.
Senor Stobart, I feel I owe you an apology.
No, you don't.
I was impolite on our first meeting.
Look, Lopez, just forget about it. I came on like a snake oil merchant. I wouldn't have trusted me in your shoes.
You do not understand. Finding the chalice has given my lady a new lease of life. It's a marvel. She smiles, she laughs. The tradesmen are saying that she is on Prozac.
So the Countess feels that the curse is lifted.
I would not put it so strongly. Your discovery of the chalice was proof that the Templars never abandoned the De Vasconcelos. It counts for a great deal with my lady.
What's the story behind the chalice vanishing?
When the Inquisition raided, in the absence of Don Carlos, it was believed that they had taken it. Naturally, they denied the charge as they denied taking the children. And naturally, nobody believed them.
But they were telling the truth. The chalice was hidden from them. You don't suppose they were telling the truth about the children as well, do you?
Madre de Dios! I had not thought of that. But then what happened to them?
I don't know. If the Inquisition didn't take them, then who did?
You must speak to my lady of these.
Count on it. That is not a good idea. Catch you later, Lopez.
Adios, Senor Stobart.
Oh, hi. You have really googly eyes in
What a pleasure.
this picture.
Sit down.
Hi, Countess. The pleasure's all mine. I've brought back your chalice.
Why? You've had it cleaned.
Yeah, I met an obliging priest with a soft cloth.
Have you resolved the Templar mystery?
No, not yet. I don't even know what it is I'm after.
There are many stories of the knights secreting great wealth away.
Whatever. All I know is I don't want the bad guys to get it.
To be young and live in a world of moral absolute.